Welcome to Not So PG. I'm Brooke Blurton. My pronouns are she and her.
I'm Matty Mills. My pronouns are he and him. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we record. And for me, that's the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
And for me, that's the Eora People of the Eora Nation. All right, Matty,
Let's
go.
get into it. Wow, okay. Well,
Okay, how was your weekend?
it was good. It was quite nice. I saw a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time. I caught up with like heaps of friends. So Saturday was just basically spent catching up with friends. I caught up with my friend Emily, who I haven't really hung out with in like maybe a couple of years. But, you know, we were really close and tight. We just had a really nice catch up. It was really nice. And I helped my friend move house. So she was moving into Surrey Hills. So I got to catch up with her while I was helping her do that. And yeah, it was good. But it's friggin' cold here today. It's like freezing.
Welcome to my life in Melbourne. Yeah, it's really, we're only in autumn and we haven't even hit, winter prime yet. And I'm nah, I need to get out of this hole.
Oh yeah, it must be cold in Melbourne today. It's freezing here.
Yeah, it's so cold. Got the layers on today. I was saying you look like a sophisticated daddy today.
In my sweater.
You're giving daddy vibes. Like, I just love the cardigan. It's like...
It's
you
not a cardigan.
just look so good.
Oh, thanks. I look quite preppy, don't I? I don't think it's a cardigan. Would you call this a cardigan?
Is it cashmere?
No, I don't think so. No, I can't afford that.
One day when we have our yacht and our boat. It's too bougie.
How was your week? What did you get up to?
I had a couple of dates this weekend.
Ooh.
So the first one, I definitely got catfish. I mean, I'm still figuring it out, right? So he's a black fella, which I kind of was surprised at, Thursday Island boy.
Wow.
And it was actually nice because you know how we talk about how I want to end up with sort of someone who understands First Nations community and doesn't really, like I don't have to explain or educate people on things.
Yeah.
It was a nice conversation.
Yeah.
But do you want to hear a funny thing?
Tell me.
I told my girlfriend, obviously, safety, right? So whenever I go on a date that's somewhere else other than my house, I tell my girlfriends like where I'm going and what time and like with who.
Yep.
And I send them a photo. So Tess knew who I was going on a date with. She knew where it was and she was catching up with friends at dinner as well. And anyways, I'm like amongst this day and we're having good conversation and then all of a sudden I get kissed on the side of my cheek. And it's my best friend, Tess.
Oh.
So she so happened like they were walking past on Chapel Street and they stopped into this bar, who she was with our good friends from Perth.
Okay.
Were like, oh, we want to go to this bar and like see what it's like. And it just so happened to be the same bar that we were at.
Oh,
and
that's
it was
funny.
just simply a coincidence. Like it wasn't anything planned. Like I wasn't like, yeah, my best friend's going to be on this place. Like she's just checking in. Because, imagine being on the date and the date's best friend is like at the same place. You're like,
odd.
Is this?
Yeah.
It's a bit weird.
Yes.
Yeah, And I was like, oh my God, I'm that weird date. And so she's like, hello. Like we all did like the greeting. He met her. And then there was a moment where I went to go get drinks. And I was like, oh, I'll just quickly go to the bathroom. And so we went to the bathroom together and she's like, how's the date going? And I was like, we're just like sitting in the toilet, like giggling, like classic.
Oh my God. That is funny.
Anyways, I was like, do you reckon he looks like his profile picture? And she's like, I couldn't see it. Like, so I definitely feel like I got catfished.
Oh, like how bad?
I feel like the height. I feel like he's not 6 foot.
Okay.
I know what 6 foot is, and I think he's much smaller. I just think like, has he done some AI shit where he looks bigger and taller and I don't know. He's done something because he still looks the same and his features are the same and maybe they're like front on and I hadn't did a full spectrum of like what he looks like, but it was so weird because the whole time I was just like sussing him out, but it was actually so nice because we connected on that mob level.
Yep.
But at the same time, there was just no romantic connection there.
Oh, okay. Bummer.
I know. Hilarious. Anyways, I then went on another date and this was actually dinner to someone that I've sort of been on and off chatting with. And they invited their dog. Well, I invited them over and then they brought their dog over as well.
Yep.
Oh my God. Within like 2 minutes of the dog being there, not even like 2 minutes, I'm talking like the 30 seconds that the dog runs up the stairs,
Yeah.
takes a shit on my carpet.
Girl, that dog would have been kicked out. I would have sent that
And
man
it was
home.
a fucking retriever. So the shits that this thing
It's not like a little Kobar shit. It's like a Cosmo poo.
It's literally like a fucking human shit.
Wow. And was he embarrassed?
He was, and I felt bad, but I think it also like it was good.
Icebreaker?
Yeah, I think. Like we were just laughing.
Laughing at it. Oh my God.
I don't think I'll see either of them again, but
Okay, so question. The last time we spoke, you said that you were in your independent era and now you've gone on 2 dates in 2 days, babe.
I know. Because I'm like, well, no, because I still am dating, but
Okay, so you still
it's
want
not, like,
to
my
connect
big
with people,
priority.
but you don't want to
Yeah.
get into a relationship.
because I've also made some really good friends from dates. Like that's
Yeah.
why I was talking to people and I'm still like, hanging out with them and talking because I think I really like the connection of, meeting people in Melbourne because I'm still new to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And but I just don't really I'm not dating to like find the one.
The one,
If that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still in my independent era. Obviously.
Independent era. But I love the fact that you can go on dates. Like for me, that sounds like such a scary thing to just go on like a date with someone who I don't really know. Like I just don't know if I could do it at this point in my life. It's very
I mean, I think I've also built this like muscle.
Yes. Yeah.
To be honest, like
Yep.
I'm also like the Bachelorette, Bachelor. Everything moves really fast. Like I think that's why I'm just like, don't waste my time. Like we can either be friends or we never see each other again. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because we were talking the second date. We're talking about what's happening on the weekend, and the coronation was happening.
Yes.
And I just had like no interest in it at all. And
Yeah.
they were like offering, perspective of the royals and the crown and like all this information. And I was just like looking at them like, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch it?
I saw some of it. What I realised is that every single person within the coronation, well, like especially the formalities, everyone looked really sad. This was the coronation. You should look strong. And I felt like everyone looked sad and weak, fragile. This does not seem like the idea of a coronation is supposed to be this big thing and it's supposed to be a powerful thing, which I don't believe it is, but that's the point of it. It felt like it was just weak, angry, sad, like especially Camilla. She looked real, I don't know, she's in a side chick. She won.
She's side chick era.
She was the side chick that won. So for all those side chicks out there.
You can get that back.
But well,
I didn't watch it. I had no interest in it. I think like we all know where our stance is, and I think a lot of people feel the exact same in amongst my friends, my community, and who I surround myself with.
Yep.
But there were a few people that were posting the coronation online.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, people. What the fuck are you doing?
But also like Katy Perry and Lionel Richie, that's just such an odd choice for entertainment.
Invitation, yeah.
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 It seems like they were sort of like probably the last people to say yes or like.
They're like, we're pretty desperate.
What about Lionel Richie?
Celine Dion has said no.
Yeah.
What
about the fifth member of Little Mix?
I mean, Lionel Richie performed recently at Sophia's wedding, which was estimated to be about like $4 million.
Wow.
She's like the latest craze on TikTok at the moment. Like everyone is like, obsessed with her. She used to date Scott Disick back in the day.
Yes.
And it's so funny because everyone's like making these videos about her and the transition from when she used to date Scott Disick to now dating her current husband.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a little bit of money can do.
Wow.
And her like fashion from like when she was with Scott to being like a stepmom to then now being a wife, and like her fashion is just like escalated into this like really like classy, sophisticated, like bougie, designer. I'm like, well, duh. Like, if you had a husband that was worth like a ridiculous amount of money and a dad who's like one of the like music legends, would you not want to be like dressing in Gucci and fucking like Louis Vuitton, like
Louis Vuitton with the
Louis
B.
Louis Vuitton. Get what I don't know. I was like Louis Vuitton or Louis
Christian
Vuitton. Like, I did like a cross between. Yeah, so I was like, Sophia's like this recent craze on TikTok, and she's beautiful. She's actually so gorgeous. Like, you just look at her and you're like, how the fuck do you look like that? It's just
I remember when she was with Scott Disick. She was quite young, wasn't she? She was like 19 or something. Yeah. Well, speaking of exes, I caught up with mine.
Oh yes, okay.
Yeah, I did.
We need a hot minute to unpack this. How was it?
It was really nice. We caught up I needed to get my passport from him because
we're going to LA.
We're going
bitches.
overseas. And so basically I was like, oh, let's catch up and I can get a chance to see Cosmo too. So we caught up. We spent about 2 hours together just having a yarn and walking around a park with Cosmo. But it actually felt really nice. What I realised though is that I give myself a lot when it comes to opening myself up and giving information, and I still sort of need to figure out where the boundary is there, because I'm like an open book. Like I'm someone who overflows with information when it comes to people when they ask me about myself or,
That's your communication style. I mean, I'm probably very similar, like more of an overshare and more like what you see is what you get. I think you're just similar, but...
but it was actually really nice. Like it was a really nice catch up, and I'm just glad that he's doing well. And Cosmo, it's like you hanging out with Cosmo and just like seeing him.
Get a little dog fix.
I know. So I actually that was really nice. That's the start of the week. So it was a nice way to start the week.
No wonder you got your dad outfit on today.
Yeah.
You're in full daddy mode. You seem sad today.
Well, I don't think I'm sad. I've just got a lot going on. Like, my dad is in hospital again, and like with a whole face full of stitches, it's like I just feel like I'm heavy,
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, and so I'm just like I'm not on my light shit. I'm more on my heavy emotional thing, and I know I have to have conversations with family this week that I just don't want to have conversations about. Like, my brothers and I need to start seriously talking about like really important stuff in our family, and it's like, I just don't want to have those conversations. So
yeah, they're heavy topics.
Heavy.
I mean, do you have someone that you can talk to about this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm gonna start seeing a therapist. I know I say it every week, but it will get there.
No, we have spoken about this. But yeah.
So I think that there's a need to get a lot off my chest. I had a really good conversation with a friend last night, for hours about this stuff, and we spoke for hours about like just everything, and I basically vented the last 6 years of my life as a timeline, and it felt so good to get it off my chest. Like, it felt like I was way more clear in understanding what I've been through in the last little while, and like sort of it was like a bird's eye view of all the shit that has happened over the last few years in my life. So I think that was a really good sort of way to get it to the surface and start talking about it, because I was able to go, okay, well, this is what happened, and then this is what happened, and then this is what happened, and it just kept on sort of flowing through this conversation, but it felt like I was like letting it go a bit, or just like understanding it more.
Yeah, I mean, you're one to just keep cycling and just keep moving, and then all of a sudden it sort of like banks up. And then I always used to do that. I think when I was younger, I used to bottle a lot of things up. Like I was like, and then I hit rock bottom in 2013 was my really tough year, and I wrote about that because I've thought that it was good perspective to look at look at that situation and be like, wow, that was where I come from, like that literally hitting rock bottom, and I never ever want to go back to that.
Totally.
So now I'm really good at just, if I feel shit, to sort of get some perspective, like touch in and lean in, because then I'm like, I never want to go back to that.
Yeah.
Where I'm not saying that you've not ever hit rock bottom or been to a place that's like close to that, but it does bank up and it does affect you. And I feel like you just then you're literally pouring from an empty cup. You don't have the energy, the emotional capacity to even be there for your friends if they need them, or like offer anything, because you're not in that type of place.
Totally.
I mean, we talked about therapy, and I think therapy is something we really advocate for. You know, I was talking to you about this, I think maybe Friday or something, about the mental health treatment plan. You can get 10 sessions.
Yes.
It's under Medicare rebate, you know, and you sort of, you know, get your referral and then go and get your 10 sessions from a therapist. But finding that therapist is really difficult, and you might not get, you know, a good therapist at the start. But I mean, therapy isn't always necessarily the solution. Yeah. Sometimes you could have a really good conversation with a friend, which sounds like Shari definitely was one to provide you with a lot of perspective, and now you can sort of look at it like from a bird's eye view. Yeah,
I think the idea of doing therapy consistently is going to be helpful though, because I feel like I've done it for little chunks at a time in the past, where it's been like, you know, maybe a few weeks here, a few months there, and it's like being consistent with it. I think consistency is something that I'm really striving for in a lot of areas of my life, actually. So I'm trying to sort of to be more consistent at like things, especially things that I set out to achieve or want to do in the week, you know. So I'm excited. I think I do know the therapist who I want to see, so I'm going to reach out to them this week and just like try and line up a meeting and see if we're a good match. And I think. But how did you find your therapist?
I've actually lost count to how many therapists or counsellors I've been through. Yeah. From the early ages, when my mum and I and our family, we went into a women's refuge, they offered us like child psychologists. Yep. And so over the years, I've had like women, I've had old men, I've had young psychologists, but I have a sort of middle-aged white queer man. Yeah. And he's amazing and I love him. And I just did my research into someone who was trauma-informed, someone who advocated and supported the LGBTQI community, someone also who had an understanding of First Nations communities as well. So I think it's you doing your own research. Yep. Trial and error is always really important, and also not getting so disheartened when that first session, setting low expectations as well in that first session is really important, because you're not going to be like immediately fixed. I think for someone, you go into that thing and you're like, well, you know, fix all my problems. Yeah. But it's not the case. Like that first session is rapport building. And if you go in with that mentality and you're like, okay, we need to develop this relationship first so then I can trust this person. Yeah. And then when they offer support, I can take it on. Yeah. But, you know, the first psychologists and stuff that I tried, just terrible. Just really terrible. I mean, I can't even tell you some horror stories that I had with some psychologists. Like, you know, it's hard because you want also a psychologist that maybe is mob. But like I had this one in uni, and she was an old sort of nana who, you know, worked in the uni for years, and she was a counsellor. And I went and sat with her, and I did a couple of sessions with her, but I just felt like it would maybe be too overbearing and too mothering and too nurturing in a way that I don't really need. Yeah. You know, I just need perspective sometimes. Yeah. Yep. You know, and I think that's a really good counsellor, is someone who can just hear what you're saying. Yeah. But offer sometimes like very little, because you have to also go do the work yourself. Yeah. And they, you know, they offer that, I guess I call it homework, because I think if you're going to a therapist, you're actively saying, I want to feel better, I want to do better, and I'm hoping to work for a better life. Totally. Kind of thing. And so I think, you also have to put in the work too.
Yeah, I think because I've had a therapist who was somebody who listened a lot, which at that point I sort of needed, but then I definitely needed them to be more constructive with their feedback or how they wanted to help, you know. So I got a bit annoyed because I was like, oh, he's just listening. I'm not getting much information from him. I'm not giving me solutions. And so basically I stopped seeing this one guy, and then I ended up seeing this other guy who was really good, and he was very straightforward with me. So he was very much like, this is what I see. This is what I think you should do. This is what I think is going to help. Like, he was very much down the line. And I think I need a therapist who's going to be really honest with you and down the line, and not sort of fluff about and get too sort of
Waste my money.
high level. Yeah, I just want to like let's zone in on stuff and like actually pull things
Well, I think
apart.
that's your personality, and I think you need a counselor or someone who, because they become your like life coach as well, like, you know, in all aspects of your life, like your relationships, your career, like, so you need someone who's sort of, you know, and I think for me, and you're probably, I guess, similar, is that you go into that session and you're like, I just want to tell you everything.
Yeah.
And I want you to also do the work, and I want you to understand and sort of help me, if that makes sense. So laying it all out for them is usually that. For me, I just go into that sort of session like, this is what's happened in my life in the 28 years that I've been alive.
Yeah.
I know that would cause an effect. I don't know if I've dealt with it yet.
Yeah.
But let's unpack that, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And I think writing a book is really helpful because you're like, fucking throw it at them and be like, wait, read this, because I really need to, you know, I need help with, because I think for me for years, right, I don't know I know that, you know, we have sort of different experiences but very similar as well, but my biological dad was like a terrible man. Like he's not a really nice man. And for years I thought, because I don't have a relationship with my dad, I've got daddy issues. But that's not necessarily the case with me, and I've never really felt like I've really identified with the whole thing of like, oh, I've got daddy issues, you know? Like I've got Pete, who's like this beautiful father who showed me that nurturing, that love from a father and like unconditional love that I've never ever experienced ever in my life.
Yep.
And so I thought, you know, for a long time I was having to identify with having this issue, which wasn't an issue for me. Like, and so when I went into therapy and I was like, because I don't have a relationship with my dad, does that immediately mean this? And it was like, where did you get this idea from?
Yeah.
Why did you like think that this was, you know, something you needed to identify with? And I think I try to take on this responsibility for different things because, I don't know, maybe it's like a societal thing or maybe it's just like a peer pressure thing. I don't know. I was like, I don't have fucking daddy issues.
Yeah.
I actually love my dad, my adopted dad. My dad was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have a relationship with him. His other children also feel the same way. So it's not just like, you know, it's not a me thing.
Yeah.
But the thing, the relationship that I'm really unpacking is the relationship that I have with my mum, who's not around anymore. And it's unpacking like that as a whole, because that is very complex and that is very, but that affects so many other things. The love that I have with her and our relationship affects how I also have relationships and see relationships, which therapy is fucking great. It's just really expensive.
Oh, I mean,
going to get 10 sessions, which went from 20 to 10, which we complained about, obviously.
Yes, totally.
Check out episode insert here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely keen. So I think this week it'll be one of my priorities. I'm going to write a list of things I need to get done this week, and that's sort of top of the list to reconnect with my with this therapist.
Why don't you also dabble into other things that bring you joy, like make you happy, like random shit, like I don't know,
horse riding.
Yes,
girls been horse riding. How
I'm in
is
my
it?
saddle club era.
Yes, I love this for you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you haven't seen, I've been horse riding, which it seems very odd. I don't think a lot of people will kind of picture that life for me, but it brings me joy. And also, it's something that I've always wanted to do even as a child, but horse riding and being around horses is a very expensive sport / hobby to have. Yeah. And no, I'm not saying that, you know, I've got money coming out of my ass, but being in a financial position to be able to like, you know what, I'm going to actually commit to this and I can do this.
Yeah. Do you go once a week or how does it work?
I'm riding like 2 to 3 times a week now.
Oh, wow.
Varied through the mornings and the afternoons. Yep. And I mean, the first session back, I was cantering. Like I was straight back into it, and even my instructor was like, "You've never like ridden consistently before?" And I was like, "Only when I was in high school." And he was really surprised. I mean, like that's I think also at any age where you are, and I think people really need to also like, you know, enjoy doing the things that you've always wanted to do, like getting back into it, because I think it just brings so much healing. Like,
yeah, totally.
You're like, your inner child is like, oh my God, I wanted
to do this
is what
for
I've
so
always wanted to
long.
do,
Yes.
you know, like you know, and so horse riding is, I'm just doing for the pure love and joy that it makes, you know, and the exercise is intense.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't, I also, this is off record, like this is not going on the record, so just cut this out, but hilarious, Chae.
Sure.
I was having sex and I was like, oh, if I knew that I was going to be riding you, I probably wouldn't have ridden my horses.
Girl, that is staying in the pod. That is the opening title.
I was like, I can't believe that just came out of my mouth. Like,
You actually said it out loud?
I said it out loud.
Girl.
I was like, in the moment, okay? In the
Reverse
moment.
cowgirl? That's
Cut
funny.
that out. But I just wanted to show them to make you laugh.
Oh my God, our listeners would love that. I feel like we should keep it in.
If I knew I was going to be riding you, I wouldn't have ridden my horses.
I'm gooped.
Fuck.
That is fucking hilarious.
Good. I'm glad I made you laugh because that's all that counts.
Well. Talking about how, you know, obviously through therapy that you have been working on your relationship with your mum, and you said that, you know, the relationship that you have with your mum, which is quite beautiful. It's not something that is past tense. I love that. This time of year, is it triggering for you because of Mother's Day that's coming up? Is that a sad day for you, or how do you feel about that day?
Yeah, I think like every year you think that losing your mum or someone in general gets easier, but it probably gets harder, I think, because as you're moving and transitioning into all these new chapters of your life, they're not there, you know?
Yeah, yep.
So it's hard because I think throughout the year you just deal with not having your mum, but having a weekend that's like dedicated to mothers and seeing everyone with their mum and like Happy Mother's Day, like hugging and kissing and doing all these special things for your mum, and you just, it's sad. I mean, I still have a relationship with her even though she's not around, and I do feel like that's really important to have because that connection won't ever go, and I feel like it's the same with my nana. I mean, I am a mum myself and being a dog mum, obviously, so I do celebrate Mother's Day, but it's a different level of not having your mum, and I feel for everyone out there that doesn't have their mum to celebrate, and also being like off country, like, you know, typically I would probably go and visit Nan or my mum's. I don't know how to describe the place. I feel like just mum's spot. I don't know how to explain that, but every year I sort of light a candle next to a photo of her and sort of say out things that I am really appreciative what she's done for me, the sacrifices that both my mum and my grandmother have made throughout their life, and even further than that, their ancestors. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for them. Yep. You know, I'm definitely unpacking that in therapy with, like, you know, how I feel about my mum as a person and the conflict I have with as well, especially with her addiction, which is definitely very complex. But I feel like at the end of the day, I miss her every single day. Yeah. And I feel like that's a good reminder to always love and appreciate the people that you do have in your life, because you just never know what could happen to them or what could happen or what's happening in their lives. And I think, and I think a lot of people, like, I don't know if you feel the same, really connect with losing loved ones so early. Because there's not a lot of people that have had that experience, or there's plenty of people out there that have that experience, but, you know, not exposed and talking about it. Yeah. And I think our followers and our community, like, connect, like, on such a deep level. Like, yeah. How do you feel about Mum's Day? Because your mum's still around. My mum's still around. She called me this morning, actually. She sent me a couple of messages yesterday, and she's going to come and spend the night tomorrow night at my place. So she's like, can I come over? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, and we have a tricky relationship, you know. It's like, it's always been that I was always the parent growing up, so it's always sort of been like a tricky one to really
deal with. But Mother's Day, I remember I would always try and make her feel special on Mother's Day as a kid, you know. But I definitely feel like our relationship has been really stretched over the course of my life, because it's like a lot of the time, the only time I'm connected with her is when I'm helping her, you know. And that's okay, because I feel like that's my position in our relationship. But I feel like a lot of the time it doesn't feel like it's my mum. It feels like it's someone who I'm just helping, you know, which is sort of a bit sad. But yeah, she's going to come. We're going to hang out tomorrow, and she's going to stay over the night, and yeah, we'll have a little bonding evening, I think.
But I think that's like that's like the way that you guys share love. Yeah. And, you know, you have your roles. And I think as you got older, I don't know if other people feel like this as well, but I mean, my dad, per se, my adopted dad. Yep. You know, he's not my biological dad, but he just feels like a friend, like a person, you know. And I think as you get older, I think your parents sort of become more, you know, because you're both then like adults. You have like this, you establish this like friendship. Yeah. And I've felt like that throughout my mum. I never felt like my mum was my mum. I feel the same way. It's like I felt like I was looking after her as well. And I was looking after my siblings. I was looking after my nan. Yeah. And then, you know, as I got older, sort of around that 10, 11 mark before she passed away, like I never felt like she was super maternal, and she loved us kids, but also at the same time we felt like there was this friendship, like this common understanding. And I get sad because I'm like, oh, it'd just be so nice to like have her here. My brother is having a baby. Oh, great. And so Auntie Brooke. I know. So this is my fourth, I don't know, nephew or niece. I don't know yet. But it's sad because I think my youngest brother, I thought, you know, I'd be having kids before him, and I'm so excited for him to sort of head into that next chapter. But I just said to him, like, you know, I just wish mum was here to be able to celebrate this and be excited for it. So it's sad. And I think he also knows, like, we have this bet in our family that whoever gets the first daughter, there's 4 of us now, and my oldest brother has a son, and we don't know what gender this baby is going to be, or however they identify these days. Yeah. But if whoever gets the first daughter gets right of way to name them after mum, which is Sienna. Wow. And so it's really exciting because I want that for him. Yeah. But I'm like, damn it.
You wanted that.
I wanted that. Yeah. But and I thought, you know, I would be really on my way, but we spoke about freezing eggs and I'm kind of in that process now. But yeah, that's the thing about Mother's Day is that those new chapters that you enter and not having them here, it's just – but I guess we celebrate the women that we have in our life and the people that have also offered that mothering, maternal, nurturing relationships that we – like Jo. I always wish her a happy Mum's Day because Jo's basically brought me up, and my stepmom Leanne and her mum. So I think it's a big weekend to just show people that you love them every all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
Some spooky shit has happened in the last couple of weeks though. And I don't know if it's a message from my mum or from some spirit or something, but it's followed me around and I don't feel a negative energy towards it. I feel like I haven't quite figured out what it is yet.
Okay. What does it feel like?
It's just like something constantly reminding me. Do you get what I mean? Like so it's just there and it's not harmful. It's not.
You can just sense it.
Yeah. And so it's been stuffing around with remotes. It's been tormenting my dog a little bit. It's kind of, I woke up at 6 a.m. the other morning and Cobra has these like buttons that like say walk outside. Yes, And I woke up at 6 a.m. and it was like, walk. And I was like, okay, and it's upstairs. I'm downstairs. And I was like...
And Cobra was with you?
And Cobra was with me.
Yeah, wow.
And these buttons are like on the floor. Like, and they're pretty hard to like touch because I've been trying to teach Cobra
we had them for Cosmo.
Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah. And it just kept going off. And there's like other spooky things where I was in Byron and I was having a shower and I paused the TV and what, you know, I was in the shower, then it started playing. And I was like, what the hell? I didn't press play.
Wow.
And then
Gosh.
Cobra was barking. And everyone's like, oh, he's barking at his, like, you know, reflection. And I'm like, he's not barking at his reflection because I opened the door and he started barking at the gate like this. And that spooked me out because there's just air there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't know. Do you believe in ghosts? Because I believe in spirits, and I believe that there's people, you know, need to pass to another life.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get not trapped here, but sometimes they're just here and they want to send a few messages. And I think I've just got to figure out what the fucking message is.
Unpacking Morse code.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. It's just fucked. Like, it just actually just spooks me out. And sometimes Mum sends me messages where, like, I'll randomly turn on the radio and her song will come on. I'm like, surely that's not a coincidence. Like, this one time actually when I was taking my brother to volleyball.
What was her song?
She's got two.
Yeah.
Purple Rain by Prince.
Yeah.
And the second one is P. Diddy. Every move I make.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't you write about Mama Africa from Akon in your book too?
Oh my fucking God, yes. That was also one of her funny, but that's more of a funny song.
Fun song,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like it takes you back to that era, that time of like when you would have a surround box CD player and also used to rotate CDs. Do you remember those?
Yes.
And you have like 4 speakers.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they're all connected by cord and
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't listened to Akon in ages.
I know.
Yeah, but ghosts. Okay, back to ghosts. So, this year, obviously, I moved into a new house. And so when I moved into my old house, I smudged that one. And then when I moved into this house, I did it again.
Yep.
And I feel like I need to do it again because I truly believe, like, obviously, when I did the Bachelorette, I had some elders smoke the houses that we were all living in, the mansion and then also the Bachelorette pad. And, you know, and I think it's obviously a protocol to do a smoking and could it sort of get that negative energy out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, just feels different. I feel like I need to smudge my house? Do you do your houses, like the apartment that you've moved into?
I definitely have. I don't do it often, but I have in the past. I use one of those little wood. It's not sage. It's more like that wood one. Yeah. I did it because I wasn't sleeping well in my room, remember? And then I had that weird demon come in and whatever that was. And so, but now I'm sleeping better, which is good.
So do you reckon it helps?
Yeah.
I reckon it does.
Placebo.
I don't know. Maybe it's placebo effect. Maybe it's superstition, but I believe in it.
Yeah, I definitely believe in ghosts for sure. Aliens, not so much.
Aliens, I think there's like, I don't know, because I read Matt Agnew's book recently. You know, he talks about creatures and we probably haven't reached the depth of the ocean yet because we can't get, you know, that. You know what I mean? Like there's probably creatures down there that we haven't discovered yet. 100%. So I feel like the same with space, that there's something out there maybe. Maybe it's not as what we picture as like
the
this,
green,
Yeah, the green gooey like alien thing. Maybe it's just like something, you know, prehistoric, like crocodile kind of things, you know? Maybe they're aliens. That's what I think. But yeah, no. I think I'm going to sage my house again. Mm-hmm. And I reckon this Mother's Day I'm going to put up a little photo of my mum. Yeah. And then
beautiful.
Okay.
I love that.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Aliens Day.
Oh, well, that's all we have time for today. But thanks for listening to Not So PG. If you love us, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a little review.
And if you want to tell us something, like even a little ghost story maybe, or maybe some dating shit advice, I don't know. Follow us on socials and slide into the DMs. My handle is at Brooke.Blurton.
And my handle is at It's Matty Mills.
And you can follow all of the Nova Podcast action over at Nova Podcast Official. Bye, guys.
Bye.